And as soon as he said that, I just felt like crap. I went from feeling amazing about myself to just feeling like shit just because of the comment that he made about my... Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on Joe Rogan saying that fat shaming works. Does it work or is it dangerous advice? Before I get started with the topic, I would just like to ask that if you would like to see more of these types of videos, be sure to smash that like button so I know to make more of these types of videos in the future. And if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as every day I will be uploading new videos for you guys. Now onto the topic of fat shaming. The way I'm going to break this video down is, before I actually get into whether or not fat shaming does or does not work, I want to discuss the physical health implications of being excessively overweight, the mental health implications of being excessively overweight, and once we cover those, then I will move on to whether or not fat shaming does or does not work. Now, with regard to your physical health, there are a lot of physical health implications involved in being excessively overweight. Just a few of them. One is going to be your posture will be affected. Let's say you are somebody that has a really large stomach. If you have a large stomach, oftentimes what's going to happen is the weight of the stomach is going to pull you forward. When you pull forward, then all of the abdominal musculature and the muscles that connect to the front of spine are going to pull the front of the spine forward. When the front of the spine is being pulled forward in the lumbar spine, that is what is referred to as a hyperlordotic curve, so an excessive curvature of the spine. If you have a hyperlordotic curve, there can be a lot of complications. You can have back pain coming from disc issues, coming from intervertebral discs being compressed. You can have the impingement of the ligaments that run down the spine. A lot of issues can arise from having a hyperlordotic curve. Now, aside from having a hyperlordotic curve, oftentimes that is going to be coupled with an anterior pelvic tilt. An anterior pelvic tilt is going to throw off your gait pattern. It will also affect your lower back health, and it will also affect the length-tension relationship between the muscles in the front of the hip to the muscles in the back of the hip. Those are just a few of the problems that can arise from being excessively overweight. Aside from it impairing your body's function, another thing is that being excessively overweight is going to decrease your life expectancy. Now, this isn't guaranteed. There are people who are excessively overweight that live to have long, healthy lives. However, on average, if you are excessively overweight, you can expect that your life expectancy will decrease. And one of the things that really makes this troubling is that all of these are completely preventable. You can address these before they become an actual concern. Now, going back to some other physical health implications, when you are excessively overweight, for women, this could lead to infertility. I've had many patients come to me that have had issues with infertility, and as soon as their weight ended up going down to a healthy level, then they were able to get pregnant. Now, I'm not saying that if you do have issues with infertility, losing weight will solve that. There can be a number of factors as to why you are not getting pregnant. However, one of the factors can be attributed to your weight. If you have excessive amount of body fat, that can lead to infertility issues. Again, it's not guaranteed, it is just a possibility, and it is preventable if you lose the weight. One of the other things is, if you are excessively overweight, you also have the possibility of getting type 2 diabetes. Now, when it comes to diabetes, there's type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is the one that you are born with. It's something that is completely out of your control. Some people get it, and it has nothing to do with diet. It was just that was the hand they were dealt at birth. And type 2 diabetes used to be called adult onset diabetes, but they changed it to type 2 diabetes because it's no longer adults that get it. As people are getting more and more overweight, particularly younger kids, we're seeing a lot more younger populations being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And again, type 2 diabetes is completely preventable. So if you would like to actually improve your health, then lowering your weight is one way to do that. It's not the only thing. There are other ways to improve your health, and losing weight isn't the only factor. You can lose weight and still be unhealthy. However, if you lose the weight, it will dramatically improve how you feel, how you function, and your overall health. Now that we got the physical health implications out of the way, I would like to discuss some of the mental implications involved in being excessively overweight. One of the mental health aspects is going to be low self-esteem. A lot of people that are severely overweight will suffer from issues with low self-esteem, anxiety, depression, and that can lead to things like eating disorders. If you do have issues with self-esteem, and you want to lose weight in order to feel better about yourself from a self-esteem standpoint, that can lead you to doing dangerous eating practices to lose weight rapidly. And oftentimes what happens is when people develop eating disorders to lose weight rapidly, they lose the weight quickly. And then what happens is they go back to somewhat of a normal diet, and then they put the weight back on plus extra weight. Then eventually they'll try and do another type of crash diet, they'll lose the weight, put back on even more, and before you know it, you can do that cycle a dozen times, and every single time your weight just keeps going higher and higher and higher at the end of it. A much better way to do that is going to be to follow something that is sustainable, which means you can follow it long term. You don't want to do any types of crash diets. A lot of this is going to do with mental health issues, and mental health is going to tie in to whether or not fat shaming works. So, does fat shaming work? This is going to be very dependent on a person-to-person basis. Because I believe that yes, it absolutely does work. And I also believe that no, it is terrible and it could lead to very negative effects of the person that you are shaming. It's going to come down to on an individual basis. I'm going to use myself as an example. Me personally, I was never severely overweight. However, when I was younger, I was very, very lanky and thin. So I always got shamed not for being overweight, but for being very, very skinny. And because of that, when I got older, I always wanted to get bigger. So I practiced some pretty unhealthy eating habits. When I was in my early 20s, I really got into bodybuilding, and I just tried to force feed myself because I wanted to get as big as possible, because when I was younger, I got made fun of for being skinny. And by force feeding myself and trying to make myself as big as possible, years later, I did get diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and I do believe that a large portion that contributed to that was my eating habits when I was force feeding myself, because it was just too much of a stress on my body. And my body, the way I'm built, I am just physically not built to be a very big person. Once I get into the 170s, I start to feel really sluggish, my digestion slows down, and I just don't feel good. My endurance is terrible. In terms of how I feel, between 145 to 165 pounds is my sweet spot. If I'm somewhere in that range, then I will feel amazing, I will perform amazing, and overall everything is good. However, even though I feel my best in that range, mentally, I would like to be bigger. So when I do get insulted or made fun of, it does kind of light a fire under me to get back up there. And that could lead to positive results, or it could lead to negative results. Just one example was a few years ago. I remember I was doing a fascial stretch therapy treatment on one of my clients, and I had happened to be doing the treatment just after my workout. He came early, I was topless, and at the time I was feeling really good about myself because I was really, really lean and I was at a decent size. I wasn't super heavy, I was still in the 160s, but overall I was feeling pretty good about myself. And the first thing he said to me was, "Man, your arms are looking small." And as soon as he said that, I just felt like crap. I went from feeling amazing about myself to just feeling like shit just because of the comment that he made about my arms. Now, if I had been someone else, that one comment could have crushed me. However, because of the way that I am and the way that I reacted to his comment, what that led me to do was to train my arms to get them bigger. And one thing about me, I never train arms. In the last 10 years, I've maybe trained them for a couple months. I generally get all of my arm training when I'm doing things like dips, pull-ups, all my compound lifts. I don't have days that I specifically train my arms. However, when he said that, that did affect me. And it affected me enough to the point where I had trained my arms for the first time in about 5 or 6 years. For 5 or 6 years, I hadn't done any arm training. And I had gotten to the point where after a few workouts, my arms were looking really pumped. So I had taken a picture of my arm in the mirror. I sent it to him and he was like, "Holy crap, what the hell have you been doing?" And then I told him I started training arms after he made fun of me. So for me, it actually worked. It wasn't fat shaming, but it was body shaming. And for me, it worked. It lit a fire under my ass to get me to train my arms and to get them a little bit bigger. Now, if you know the type of person that you're dealing with, and you know that they can handle it, then yeah, fat shaming is absolutely great. If you know, okay, I'm gonna fat shame this person, and I know that this person can handle it, and I know they're gonna do something about it, then yeah, go ahead and do it. But it's going to be dependent person to person. Generally, if you don't know the person, just keep your mouth shut because it's none of your responsibility. And not only is it not your responsibility, but it's incredibly irresponsible without knowing the situation of the person. They could have mental health issues that you don't know about. They could have a ton of things that are causing the issue that you are making fun of them for. It could be a genetic factor. Even though it's very rare that it's genetic, it could be a genetic factor. So if you don't know their specific circumstance, or if you don't know who they are, just keep your mouth shut because it's none of your business. If you do know the person, if you know the person and you know that they are able to handle it and they will take what you say and it will light a fire under their ass and they're going to do the thing that you need them to do, then yeah, do it if you know that it will elicit a positive response. But only do it if you know that it will elicit a positive response and that you know the person that you are shaming can handle the shame. If they can't handle it, then worst case scenario, you could lead someone to kill themselves. And you don't want that to happen. You don't want that on your conscience. So if you don't know the person, you don't know their mental health history, then don't say anything. If you do know them and you know they can handle it, then yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, say something because it could benefit their lives. If you say something to them that leads them to decrease their weight because you body shame them or you fat shame them, then it can improve the way their body functions. It can improve their life expectancy. It can help them prevent a ton of different diseases that are related to being severely overweight. With women, it can improve their fertility. With people with type 2 diabetes, if they lose enough weight, they won't have type 2 diabetes anymore. So a lot of positives can come from fat shaming somebody if they are able to take what you said and actually do something productive with that information. If you tell them that they are fat and they get really depressed, it can make them become even a bigger version than what they are. So you need to be careful with how you approach different types of people. You really need to know their personality, their mental health, and you need to know the type of person that they are, and will they take the advice you're giving them and do something about it, or will they turn into a little ball, hide up, and then things will get even worse for them. That is something that is very important. Another thing when it comes to dealing with the person that you are fat shaming is, where are you coming from? Are you coming from a place of love, or are you coming from a place of you just want to make fun of this person because you're a piece of crap? If you're coming at it from a place of love, you genuinely care about the person, you want them to do better for themselves, then yeah, you can fat shame them if you know that they'll be able to handle it. And you can also do it in such a way where it doesn't make them feel terrible. You can do it in a way where you let them know that I'm saying this to you because I care about you. I want you to live longer. I want to spend as much time on this planet possible with you. And you don't need to do it in such a way where you are only doing it because you don't like the person and you are shaming them because you just want to drag them down. Now, if you are someone who is watching this and is severely overweight and you are not the type of person who is going to fat shame someone, but rather you have people who are fat shaming you, a few things in terms of advice that I could give you is, number one, if you do have people that are fat shaming you and it is not coming from a place of love, remove those people from your lives. It is just going to make it that much more difficult on your journey of losing weight. If it is coming from a place of love and you know they are doing it in such a way where they are trying to motivate you and they are trying to improve your quality of life, your mental health, all that type of stuff, then keep those people around, because those types of people, you're going to need them to help you out along your journey. And if you don't have those types of people in your life and you're not sure where to start, there are tons of places to start. Watch some of my videos. I have tons of great advice on there. If you don't want to watch my videos, you could buy some books, some really great books that I would highly recommend. How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy by Paul Chek. Terrific read, incredibly simple. You don't need to have a PhD to understand that book. You could give it to a 4-year-old, they will be able to read it, they will be able to comprehend it. So if you have absolutely zero education when it comes to nutrition, exercise, or health in general, I would strongly encourage you to check out that book, because there's a ton of really good information. And aside from there being some really good information in that book, there's also 6 questionnaires. Each questionnaire is going to be dedicated to a different aspect of your life. And the way that the questionnaires work is there's 6 questionnaires. You fill them out. At the end, you're scored in either red, yellow, or green. If you're in the green, you don't need to worry about that aspect of your life. If you're in the yellow, that's a cautionary one. If you have things that are in the red, those are going to be your primary things that you need to focus on. However, if you don't have anything in the red, then you would focus on the things in the yellow. And when it comes to scoring it, everything is going to be graded left to right. So the things that are on the left are going to take precedent, because oftentimes if you address those, it will correct issues that are on the right side in those different questionnaires. So if you scored multiple sections in the red, let's say the first section you scored in the red, the fourth section and the sixth section, you would focus on section 1 first, because that is going to be the most important part in regaining your health. Again, the book is called How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy by Paul Chek. If you don't want to purchase the book, I have a bunch of videos explaining different types of exercises, nutrition. I have a bunch of recipes. So if you don't want to spend the money, you could even just watch some more videos on my channel completely free of charge, and you don't have to spend any money. That covers it for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button so I know to make more of these types of videos in the future. And if you're either new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, as I will be uploading new videos every single day. That covers it for today's video. Take care, and I will see you again tomorrow.